him.
Again.
I lifted the gag order that I put in place to give the former president's attorneys more time to prove that it's unconstitutional.
It is. It isn't.
Trump is allowed to criticize the prosecution as political. I will not allow him to make personal attacks that will intimidate people in the case and mislead the public. This is suppression of core political speech. This trial is deeply connected to his re-election campaign. First Amendment freedoms do not allow him to launch a pretrial smear campaign against participating government staff, their families, and foreseeable witnesses.
It looks like he just violated your gag order. People who violate gag orders can go to jail, right? But the logistics of that would be kind of tricky.
All I can say for now is...
Hey there, guys. Welcome to the channel. So the Washington, D.C. judge in Donald Trump's Jan 6 indictment, there's so many indictments, just got some really tough news. I'll explain everything I mean in a minute, guys. But first, thanks to everyone that's been subscribing and leaving such great comments. Really appreciate your support. If you haven't already, guys, help us to continue to grow. Like, comment, subscribe, most importantly, share the channel. So you guys probably already know that the judge in that case, she imposed a gag order on Donald Trump, but then she issued a stay on her own order. And I assume it's because she was worried about how an appeals court would view, the constitutionality of it. And anyway, she was right to stay it, I think. But then Jack Smith, of course, numerous hearings got in her ear, and she reinstated it. Well, finally, we find out that her fears were real. The appeals court, in a move that looks like probably they're leaning towards reversing it, they froze it for 17 days while they figure out exactly what in the world's going on. And both sides come before the court to explain, why it should or why it shouldn't exist. Now, constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley, who honestly, I've never seen him say anything wrong. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened, just means I haven't seen it. The guy is very, very, very sharp. So he explains the constitutionality of all of this better than I ever could. So take a look and then we'll talk about it.
Both are Fox News contributors. Jonathan, let's start with the D.C. Circuit. Now, does this temporary freeze signal that there is likelihood of success on the merits with the Trump legal team's First Amendment claims for lifting that gag order?
Well, Laura, it's hard to say because we have to wait to see how the panel reacts in its review, particularly the oral argument. They're essentially freezing any action here. They could have left it continue to continue while they reviewed it, but they decided, perhaps in abundance of caution, to order this stoppage until they can give it a full review. The reason I think this could be quite significant is that I think the order is unconstitutional. I said that when it was first issued. It's a very odd concept of an order because the court here insisted on having this trial before the election, sort of shoehorned it in before Super Tuesday. And everyone in this election is going to be talking about these cases except one person under this gag order, and that is Donald Trump. He can't criticize the prosecutors. He can't criticize witnesses. And Special Counsel Jack Smith just asked for this order to be expanded in an equally unconstitutional way. And that has drawn the criticism even of the ACLU, which is a staunch critic of Donald Trump. But the ACLU has said, look, this is flagrantly unconstitutional.
Yeah, I mean, it's all substantial likelihood of success on the merits and, irreparable harm potentially for President Trump. I mean, I haven't been a lawyer for as long as you guys, but it seems like it's a decent signal that this is not going to go the way Judge Chutkan would probably want it to go.
Well, they didn't say he had a substantial likelihood of success on the merits. In fact, they went out of their way in this two-page order to say that we shouldn't construe this as a ruling on the merits. But as Jonathan says, I do think it's important.
But it's a temporary restraining. But hold on, Saul, isn't it a TRO? Didn't he grant a temporary freeze of the order? Right?
They granted an administrative stay. If we're talking about the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, they granted an administrative stay. So that's right. Her gag order is not in effect, and that's very important. I wouldn't take any more from it right now. And they also, basically, briefs are due. The Trump team's brief is due November 8th. And as you said, oral argument is the 20th. So they're going to decide on this really quickly.
That's fast. Jonathan, MSNBC's...
Now, you guys have probably seen a theme in my videos, right? On this topic, at least. I, like a lot of other people, I do not believe that gag orders at all are constitutional, especially in regards to criminal law. I think that they all violate the First Amendment. And, this case is only compounded by the fact that Donald Trump is the leading Republican candidate for president, right? Actually, if you think about it, that doesn't even matter, right? Just campaigning, period, for any party in any position makes this issue a little bit more complicated and probably unconstitutional, in my opinion. This is a thing that could easily be weaponized in the future. If the left is able to perfect it, to really figure this deal out, imagine other candidates here running for office and they're just able to charge them and gag them. They can be attacked, but they can't fight back. And then by the time the smoke clears, by the time charges are dismissed or the charges are defeated, it's over. The campaign is over and they got beat. And that's a dirty thing that could actually happen. But hard to imagine that this is a thing that we even have to worry about in the United States, but apparently we do. But guys, that's just my take. Thought you'd enjoy seeing this. Let me know your take in the comments. And if you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. And we'll see you in the next one.